United States of America. Unity and oneness is what we're made of. One nation under God, it's plain to see. We're showing the whole world what a country should be. United we stand in America, hand in hand in America. Together as one in a land that we love. United we stand in America.
Good morning, everyone out there. Welcome to Changing Times. It is Wednesday, January the 14th. We are live at the Axe Media Group headquarters in Springfield, Missouri, and I am Lynn Morris. And again, you see that Dr. Mary Byrne is not here today. She is still in Jefferson City, working today with the House side of the legislative body. She basically works for the Senate side on education. A lot of education issues going on and changes being made in the state of Missouri and around the country, because as the federal government starts to take some of the responsibilities away from the federal level and giving it back to the state levels, which I approve of, because I think local control is better than federal control in many cases. I think it's going to be a good thing, and I'm really glad that Dr. Mary Byrne is an expert on education and can help our state. So we are glad that you're tuned in today. And then also you see my chair is, Mary's chair is kind of pushed back. I've got Betsy, our cat, that's adopted us, and she's a good mouser. And I was going to push that chair up, and I thought, no, I don't want to bother her. It's actually a he, but we thought it was a she. But Betsy is laying right there and minding her own business, his own business. So I think we're okay. So today, before we get started, I mean, this is one of my favorite topics, and I just kind of learned about it about a year or so ago. But this is one of my favorite topics, and we have an expert today, and that's David Burton. How are you doing?
I'm great.
Well, I tell
Thanks
you what,
for letting me be here.
You have created the engaged neighbor, and that's a great word, to be an engaged neighbor. And I call it the neighborhood program. We're trying to create a program like what you've got established here in Christian County. We got people watching in all 50 states today, and I'm hoping that someone will hear that. Maybe your state already has that program, but I would encourage you to find out from your local government if they don't have an engaged neighbor program. I'm encouraging you, because get your pencil and paper out now, because he's going to give you a lot of information and phone numbers, email addresses, things, because you need to contact those people to see how you can develop a program. Because, David, I was just thinking, my mom and dad, you're a lot younger than me, but I'm just thinking about, and Dennis, you're going to fit in on this group too. Our moms and dads and their parents. Back before we had a lot of nonprofits, and before we had, maybe we've had the Red Cross and some big things, okay? But we got so many nonprofits and churches today that help people, okay? And that's good. But what we really need is that one-on-one, family-on-family, and we don't really have that as much. You're developing it and trying to, I think, rekindle, restart. What I think about my mom and dad, there was a doctor and his wife right across the street on South Fremont in Springfield, Missouri. And that doctor was a great doctor, as I understand, as a little kid growing up. He had a great reputation, but he was retired. And he started, well, I remember it when he was in his 70s, and he died in his 80s. But I remember my mom and dad living right across the street. My dad would help mow their yard, help do handyman things.
Yes.
My mom would cook them things and pick up groceries for them, and basically took care of them. Okay, took care of them. Today, that's not as prevalent as it needs to be. And I think that's what your program is so important about, is helping others, being kind and being attentive and helping others. Just making a phone call and checking on them, or knocking on the door and checking on them. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. That's our topic. Before we get into that topic, though, I don't want to lose the opportunity. This is the beginning of the year. We're just 2 weeks into the year, and let's talk about resolutions again. We did this last week. This is so important. I just can't avoid this. A lot of people make resolutions. Most people don't keep them. I'm in that group, so I've kind of quit making a lot of resolutions. That way, you're not frustrated. But here's one: if you're not a Christian and you don't know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, here's one resolution you need to make while this show's going on or after this show's over. You need to start thinking about eternity. You need to think about living with God and Jesus in heaven for eternity. Don't miss this opportunity. Look at what's going on right now in the world and in our country. We've got more chaotic things going on, more dangerous things going on, more things getting ready to happen right now. I believe the time is near. And I've had friends die instantly in car wrecks. I've had friends working out on weights and having a heart attack and dying while they're working out on weights. That's why I don't work out on weights. It's too dangerous to get in shape. And so I've had 2 of them in the last 3 years. They're working out, and I'm going, whoa, that's a good reason why I shouldn't work out. But I'm just teasing. I do need to get in shape. But honestly, we don't know when our time is over. We don't know. And if you want to be separated from your friends and family, then I guess don't find Jesus. But he's ready, and you need to do that. So resolutions would be: grab a Bible, buy a Bible. They'll give you Bibles. There's Bibles free everywhere. Find a Bible. Start reading the Bible. Try to read the whole Bible. If you've read it once all the way through, read it the second time. You'll learn more every time. Go to church. Find a church. Any church. Find a church. Get connected with good people in your communities. And then find Jesus. Ask Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior. Okay? That's what Acts Ministry is all about. That's what this show is about. And we just appreciate you all so much. And so share that message. Share that message with people. So let's talk about you and your program.
Yeah.
So you work for University of Missouri.
I do, for the Extension Service.
Extension Service. And I graduated from University of Missouri, so I kind of like what the school does. And particularly, I just had a long 2-hour board meeting with Missouri Council Extension. I'm on the board down in Christian County. And we had a long meeting last night. And so I even know more about Missouri Council Extension right now because of the last night's meeting. But they do a lot of great things. But the thing that you do, and then we'll talk a little bit about your history, is work. You created this. This is your baby. You created this project of Engaged Neighbor. Mm-hmm. And I think there's no better time right now with all of this stuff going on in the country and the world is to be better neighbors.
Yeah.
I really, really do. So you live in a small town in Republic, Missouri, and you've got a wife, and you've got 2 grown children.
Yes.
And you got your first grandson.
Yeah, that's right.
How old is he?
2 months.
2. Oh, my gosh. Then you're just learning how to be a grandparent.
That's right, yeah.
Well, it's kind of fun.
I don't have any grandparent catchphrases yet. I'm going to have to work on those.
Well, I tell you what, David, what you're going to find out is we loved our 3 kids, and it was quite a journey and a pleasant journey most of the time to raise our 3 kids. And what we found out, though, we had 6 grandkids. That's what we have. And 5 of them are out of high school, into college, getting married, One's already married, and
Great.
the others two are a couple are thinking about getting married and stuff like that. We have one more still left over at Nixa that's a junior, so she's getting through there too. And then all of a sudden we had this great-grandson pop
Wow.
up. So he's 2 years old.
Yeah.
And so he's he's very smart. We always think he's very good looking too, and he's just a great young guy. And actually, I think I'm going to
Family
enjoy
legacy.
the great-grandson even better than everything else I've done. So
It's a great time of life for sure. A great
and
experience.
that's why you want to get everything in order. Not just your will and all the trusts and all the things that you do, but you want to get your Christian life in order too. Okay, but what else do we want to talk? You've
well, a
got
couple
three books. Let's talk about that.
I do. The first one that's going to be available on Amazon probably by mid-February. Once it's gone through the editing process, I need to work on it some from that. Is called Neighborhood Mission Trips for Everyday Christians.
Okay, great.
And it really builds on this idea of your neighborhood as a mission field. You don't have to buy a airline ticket or a passport or get vaccinations. You can go on a mission trip right in your neighborhood.
Yeah,
It's
that's
really
awesome.
a book that's designed to be used by churches. Several churches have used the material as a test pilot already to create local week-long missions in a neighborhood, but you can use it as an individual as well, because I'm a strong believer that you're placed for a purpose. Your address is not an accident, and neither is your neighbor's. And so we need to act like that and use that as a mission opportunity every day.
You know,
That-
David, that's a great thought. I mean, that's a great thought. So for all the church members out there, tell your pastor, share that with your pastor. And then if you're a pastor out there watching, listen to what David's going to say today, because you can help develop. The pastors have more people come and congregating into a meeting than I have 100 and so at a town hall meeting, but they're going to have a lot more than that.
Sure.
And so they're very important.
And something you said really in the lead-in when you were talking about your neighbors growing up, I want to jump back and kind of start there because I think that sets
Yeah.
the tone and tenor for our conversation. And it's really based around some research that has been done. A lot that was done in the 50s and 60s, and then the study that we did in Missouri, that I did in Missouri in 2022 and 2024. But in the 50s and 60s, when you ask someone what makes someone a good neighbor, they often talked about social connections. They thought of their neighbor as someone that they helped, or that someone that they had over for dinner, or they played bridge with, and they had social interaction. That was the predominant way that people viewed neighbors, part of social capital, part of their social connections. And that has faded over the years as that study has been repeated. We've seen this decrease in neighboring connections. And so when I ran the study in 2 years in Missouri, one of the questions I asked is what makes someone a good neighbor? And we gave people traits to pick from, 30 traits. We let them fill in the blanks and things. Both years, the top 2 traits for what makes someone a good neighbor now is someone who's quiet and someone who respects my privacy. In other words, we now say a good neighbor is someone who's quiet and leaves me alone. And that's that's dramatically different from what you're talking about in the 50s and 60s. It's 180 degrees different. And that is really the research, the undergirding of why we use the term engaged neighbor. We don't need more good neighbors. If good neighbor means quiet and leave everybody alone, we don't need that. We need more engaged neighbors. I don't mean stalking your neighbors. I don't mean sitting on their porch and stuff, but engagement does assume some things.
Right.
Right? It assumes you at least know their names.
Right.
It assumes maybe you invite them into interaction sometimes. I had fallen into this cultural definition myself. Back in 2019, our church added the word neighbor to its mission statement. And honestly, I heard the sermon about that, and I left thinking this doesn't really apply to me because I'm already a great neighbor. If you'd have asked me if I loved my neighbor, I would have said yes. And I would have said, I'm a good neighbor because I leave my neighbors alone. I respect their privacy. I pick up after my dog on walks, and I take down my Christmas lights before January 1st. And the police have never been called to my home. I'm an awesome neighbor. And that was really my mindset. And that's kind of the cultural mindset, too. And then my sister-in-law, who works at a church in Colorado Springs, we went out to visit her the very next week, and they were kicking off their new theme for the year, which was Love Thy Neighbor. So I got to sit through a second sermon on loving your neighbor, and I'm starting to think, maybe God's trying to get my attention over this. And then a friend of hers gave me a book called The Art of Neighboring. It's about a 12-year-old book by Dave Runyon, and Dave's written a foreword to a couple of my books that are coming out. But The Art of Neighboring, and I wasn't even done with the first chapter, and I was already saying, goodness, I'm a horrible neighbor. See, I had fallen into that cultural.
You thought you were a good
I thought
neighbor?
I was meeting those cultural norms. But I realized, man, we've lived in the same house for 15 years at that point, and new people had moved in and out around us, and we didn't even bother to get to know their name. I waved at people, and I think most of them would have said we were good neighbors. We didn't cause a problem. We waved at everybody. But I only knew the name of one neighbor, and that is certainly not engagement. In fact, I would say the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is apathy. And we were demonstrating apathy. So we decided to take action. We decided that wasn't the way God intended us to be living where we were at. And we took the stereotypical plate of chocolate chip cookies around to each one of our neighbors. I mean, that sound like a big sacrifice, but my wife makes excellent chocolate chip cookies.
Well, I wish I lived by you, because that's my favorite cookie.
And here I am giving them away, right? But just, to begin that process, to learn the names, that's the first step. We delivered cookies. We gave all of our contact information. And I wish I could say every neighbor called me the next day and said, will you be my friend? But that's not the way it works. Neighboring is a slow process. I often say it's not a microwave. It's like a crock pot. It's a slow simmer. It takes some regular attention and maintenance. But with those cookies, we at least learned names. That's the starting point. And we went back to our house. We wrote those names down on a chart for the houses, so we could keep track and practice using them. And when I saw a neighbor out, not just waving and saying, hey, you, being able to say, hey, Matt, how are things? People love the sound of their name, and that helps advance that connection. And really doing those steps to build trust with our neighbors. That's what's lacking in America. We have fear and mistrust because we don't know people. And I would say a lot of the studies show there's not any difference here between non-Christians and Christians in terms of getting to know neighbors' names and interacting. In fact, sometimes when I go to churches and speak, people will talk to me afterwards and say things like, I invited my neighbor to church and he said, no way, and I haven't spoken to him since. Well, that's the wrong approach.
Right.
And what was convicting to me was I'm commanded to love my neighbors, which is an active verb. It takes action to love my neighbor, irregardless of whether they love me back, irregardless of whether they ever come to church with me. I'm still commanded to love them, and that requires engagement. So it really grew out of a personal conviction of how we change ourselves, a personal journey
that you actually took.
Absolutely.
Because I thought it was interesting when I was studying you and looking at some notes, I thought you thought you were a good neighbor.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Maybe a lot of people think they're good neighbors, because I do this one thing or I do that. I'll tell you something, since I moved over to the senior villas in Nixa from a large home out there on the golf course, and we downsized considerable. What I learned is I used to just drive by and see a neighbor out there on the yard, I just wave. Or maybe they're walking and I just wave. But now what I started doing since I moved over there 2 years ago at this senior villa, the seniors don't walk very fast, so it's easier to do. But you can actually stop your car, push your window down, get your window rolled down, and not just wave and drive off, but you actually talk to them. You say good morning, how you doing? You call them by name, hopefully,
Yes.
and you just see what they're going to do today. I'm headed to work, but let me know if I can help you. Just if you just spend 60 seconds, it's not going to hurt your schedule for that day. And those are the kind of things
Yes.
that we need to learn and do.
It absolutely opens doors to ministry opportunities. Absolutely it does. And just by being open and having conversation. I have a neighbor on my street who knew that I walked my dog every Sunday afternoon. She had been noticing that. They were rarely ever out. We rarely had interaction. It was hard to catch them. And here I am Sunday afternoon walking by, and she comes out and says, we had never had a gospel conversation at all.
Yeah.
Few conversations, other than when I'd rang the doorbell. And she just comes out and says, my husband has a cancer diagnosis. Will you be praying for him? Well, I mean, of all things, why would she think that I would be praying for him? I guess because we had taken those actions, taken a little bit of effort to build a relationship. And so certainly it was an opportunity right there on the sidewalk to pray for him, and on a regular basis. And it gave me a topic to follow up with them on, right?
Right.
And to check in on them. So there's these ministry opportunities that come up with that. It's really the ministry of being available to be somewhat interruptible, but to meet people where they're at.
You know, David, one of the things in this Engaged Neighbor program that you're created and developing is we're all role models. We're all role models.
Sure.
Whether you want to be a role model or not, somebody's watching you. Every action, everything that you do and say, every day, somebody is taking notice of it. They're watching it. I used to tell my kids as they was growing up, especially my son, I would tell him, today, Justin, be good at school, help other people, be a role model. Oh, I'm not a role model. Athletes are role models. And that's what he told me. He said, athletes are role models. I said, well, they're role models too. But I said, do you realize that some people can be good role models and some people can be bad role models?
Yeah.
I said,
Yes.
don't be a bad role model, be a good role model. Because if you do something kind, some of your friends will start doing it too. Okay?
Sure.
Back then, they'll think it's cool. They're going to do it. And even today, at my age, we're all role models every day. How we react, how we say things to people, how we listen. Everybody's watching us. So your Engaged Neighbor program is really developing good role models that hopefully other neighbors on the street will pick up. One of the things, because of you and Christian County getting involved late last year, and we passed a resolution. We did not have a contest. We're definitely working every month on our newsletter, letting people know what this program is.
Yes.
And just really going to have a really great end of the year with the Engaged Neighbor program. Is the fact that I decided at the end of last year, I've already told my wife told Janet that, hey, I've got this great idea. I want to invite at least 100 seniors out there at the villas. I want to invite them to a driveway party. And one of our guys that used to, and he'll be back, he's an Elvis impersonator. He won many #1 prizes in Nashville and
Yes.
everywhere else after Elvis died. He was a tremendous Elvis impersonator. He still sounds like Elvis. His body doesn't look exactly like Elvis because he's older, like me. But he really still sounds like Elvis. Well, all the seniors grew up, we know Elvis.
Sure.
And so we're going to have and my neighbor Jack next villa over to me, he's going to be, he loves to cook hamburgers and hot dogs and stuff. So we're going to have big old potluck. We're going to have, I've got this great big long driveway that's 300 feet. We can have all these people with lawn chairs, and Jan at first said, well, boy, that'll be a lot of work and trouble. I said, well, not really. I said, the church will give us big tables to put all these plates on and dishes parishes. And I said, now we'll get to learn the names of all the other seniors. We know quite a few, but I want to know them all.
Yeah, sure.
I want to know them all. So I said, we're going to have, and I said, the music is just going to blast. It's just going to be awesome. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing this summer. And that's a good neighbor program.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. We often encourage people to start small, keep it simple, because it can be intimidating to them. But yeah, I mean, anything that starts to build connection. It's connection as opposed to entertainment. You know, you're not don't do an event to entertain everybody. Do an event that builds connection. Help them learn each other's names and maybe fill their name in on a map for a directory or something that helps create ongoing connection.
Yeah.
My wife and I embarked on this personal journey, and then, you know, we did some things locally in Republic, and then, you know, about 2020 or so, I think I had this moment where I thought, I think what I'm doing is actually community development, because that's my background, community development specialist with Extension. So I think this has some applications to work as well. And so that's how the Engaged Neighbor program then really blossomed and grew as a part of Missouri Extension and some of the programs and classes that we offer under that. So certainly there's a component and an approach for people who are believers and Christians as how we should approach our neighbors. And even for non-believers, there is an approach to how we improve our local leadership, improve our communities and our neighborhoods through neighboring approaches, neighboring methods through our program. So it has application in both areas to help improve our civic muscle is what we talk about a lot in our communities. And I think that hyper-local approach can be very meaningful. I sometimes say there's nothing I can do that I can do that will change Washington, D.C., and maybe nothing I can do that will change Jefferson City, but I can make a choice every single day that will impact my neighbors and neighborhood.
Yeah.
And that is my sphere of influence, and that is where I choose to invest my time and energy, right there in those families living around me. And I've seen how that has a ripple effect by connecting with neighbors, and they end up connecting with those down the street. I've had neighbors that have run for city council in Republic and have a seat that have said they never would have done that if not for the little driveway chats we were doing, helping build connection, helping build trust. And, you know, getting to know people around me is, it can have its challenges. Believe it or not, not every one of my neighbors is exactly like me. Not every one of them votes the same way I do or thinks the same way I do. And so that can stretch a person, right? But I'm just reminded that I am called to love them whether or not it's returned.
Right.
And
well, one of the things, David, you just said that was so important is me being in public service for many years now is thinking about every town and county you live in this country, you probably, chances are, live close to a state representative, a city councilman, woman, senator, for example, in Christian County. Almost 100,000 people in my county, and we have Senator Hawley that lives close to me. We have Congressman Burleson who lives close to me. We have a lot of just different people. The fire chief, the police chief. We have all these people that live close to me. And again, this Engaged Neighbor program, because it would be nice to rub that off on some of these politicians and public servants where they, and in fact, one of the things I want to offer you, because I'll be up in Jefferson City next Wednesday. Next Thursday. Next Thursday is 22nd. That's my birthday. So I need to remember my own birthday. But so I'll be up in Jefferson City working all day. I've got a board meeting on the state county commissioners meeting, and then I'm going over to the Capitol. Those are people I've worked with over there, and so anything that we need to do to enhance the Engaged Neighbor program and get the legislators to do something, I can help you do that. I've got contacts with Governor Kehoe and everybody. I've served with them. I've worked with them. They know me. They respect me. That trust has been already built. This is one of the best programs that we could ever do. It doesn't cost a lot of money. it doesn't really take a lot of time just to call someone up and check and see how you doing.
Yes.
How you doing today? Is there anything I can do to help you?
Well, even
And,
even the example of elected officials, as you mentioned earlier, setting that example of being an engaged neighbor, the example they could set by getting connected and doing some things with their own neighbors. That would be a tremendous example, a tremendous impact from that.
Well, I want to continue to work with you, not just this. When this
Love
show's
that.
over, the connection between you and me is not over. We're going to continue to work and build. I'll help you any way I can to help build. This is a program. This country needs really bad right now.
Yes.
It really
yes.
does right now.
I write a weekly column for a local newspaper. I write a monthly one for another one in Springfield and around neighboring. One of the things I had written this week was just because love of neighbor is not a suggestion for peaceful times, it is a remedy for broken ones. Mm-hmm. And so I'd say we need that now more than ever.
I actually wrote that down because think about this. If this isn't broken times, if this is not broken times, David,
Yeah.
I don't know what is.
And a lot of it is this lack of trust that we have. You don't trust what you don't know.
Right.
And lack of trust grows into fear. And when you have fear, you have this downward spiral. There's a term for it that has now escaped me, of course. But it's hard for a culture to get out of this downward spiral of fear and mistrust. And it's hard to work together when you have that as well.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, so if this isn't the most divided times, I mean, Jim Winey and I, when we created this show almost 5 years ago, we came up with this idea. I'd done a political talk show for 7.5 years on KWTO, AM 560, and we had thousands of people that listen to our show every week and call in. That was fun for a while, but after a while, there's so much negativity and stuff, and so we did that for a long time. Had sponsors and stuff like that. Representative Jeff Messenger, he was a great guy over in Jefferson's, over in the Republic.
Yes, right.
Yeah, he was my best friend, and he just died recently, and we always talked about the separation of people, but right now this country is split probably down the middle, pretty much 50-50. You got all these positive, you got all the negative. I got the positive, the negative. It's back and forth, and I don't know what people believe and want to believe because you watch Fox News and you hear one side. You listen to watch CNN, you got a completely different version. I don't even know how people are going to begin to understand. And now you got AI that's saying things that other people said, and you can't tell where's the truth and what's not. So that's going to be confusing.
Yep.
You see pictures AI creates, and they look like you and me. They're not you and me. I don't think they've taken I've had a picture taken there and stuff like that. So boy, this is going to be confusing. That's why genuine love and kindness towards your neighbor. Love thy neighbor.
Yeah.
I think somebody in the Bible said, love thy neighbor.
He did.
Okay?
He didn't.
And so how important is this good neighbor? It's extreme. Anything else about the historical part before we go into just some of all these different features that you've got?
Sure. It's a big topic. Like I said, it's been a heart issue for me for several years, and that's why we've seen tremendous growth and interest in the program. I think, I don't think it's because of COVID. I think that was really more of a coincidence and timing. But I can tell you that since then, my opportunities to speak nationally on this topic have exploded. There's this genuine growing interest in the subject. I think there's kind of a revival of neighboring going on. I think that's often how God works when he brings revival. It kind of happens in different places all over, and I see this with this neighboring approach. It's kind of popping up all over the country from, Colorado to Michigan to Florida, all over. And so I think there's something in this, and I think it's a great move forward. We've talked about divided times, so just a brief story. in my neighborhood, I have a good friend that manages properties, and one of the things he loves to do every fall is we go around and change batteries in the smoke detectors for the elderly and the widows that are in our neighborhood. And we just started doing that about 3 years ago, I guess. And people call, we get in contact with the widows and schedule a time and so forth. And it's a great way to make connections with them and hear stories, and sometimes we get cookies out of it for the effort. And but we had a new person that moved into the neighborhood, and she was a widow, and she had campaign signs all over her yard. And whatever you think that means, all over, double it. I mean, they were all over. And so we walked up to the house, and he didn't know we were going there. He said, I didn't realize this was a widow. And I'm like, yeah, let's go on in. He says, I'm not sure I can do this one, because I can guarantee you they were going to cancel out each other's vote. And so I think it'll be worth our time. Let's go. And we ended up having a lovely conversation with her. She was taking care of a disabled son. She followed us all over the house. He was wanting to talk about sports the whole time. She was talking about things in the house she needed help with that she didn't know how to do or fix. She didn't know that he was a property manager and a handyman, right? And so, but we got to know each other a little bit.
Yeah.
And as we left, at the end of the driveway, he said, do you have her contact information? I'm like, sure I do. And he says, I want to come back and help her with those projects. I want to do those things for her.
That's awesome.
So it would have been easy to keep driving by that house on the road and assuming things, right? And letting trust and fear, making assumptions even about that person. But just that little bit of time of getting to know activated him to have a little compassion and take action to help them and develop a relationship. And that's the way people change and improve. And that's why our neighborhoods get better by having those connections.
Well, ever since my accident 2 years ago, be 2 years this Mother's Day, and where I lost my foot and leg with a spider bite, outside, I stay in a wheelchair, but I won't have to very much longer. But I walk with the walker, but I won't have to do that very much longer because I got a new foot and leg just the day before yesterday, and they said I'll be walking with a cane as I go through physical therapy. I won't have the walker anymore. But one of the things I did, because the place we live is beautiful retirement villas, and I've got this long driveway, and then it's kind of wide out in the end. It's an end of the driveway. There's no more street. There's street ends. So because I can't stand leaves and things on my driveway. So I sit in the wheelchair and I blow all the leaves off in my driveway, off into the yard and goes down. And well, I don't just do my driveway. I do my neighbor's driveway, Jack. I do him, because you know what he does for us? He helps my wife, because right now I've not been able to take the trash every Monday morning, every Sunday night, because it gets picked up on Monday. I can't stand up and push it all the way up the hill, because we have a kind of a steep hill, and then to the road, and so he's been helping us, and he brings it back on Monday morning. It's empty. Okay, so he does that for us. I'm helping him because I get his driveway, but then I go all the way up to the top of the hill of the driveway, and I blow it all the way up to there. I blow everything off, so it's just perfectly black, beautiful, nothing on the driveway. I do it all the time. Jen said, why do you do it all? Well, and one of the things is it's hard in the wheelchair to go up the hill, but think about it. It's good for my arms, my chest muscles. It's good for my stomach to have to do this, and it's hard, but we help each other out. And those are the things that an engaged neighbor could do.
Absolutely.
I mean, they really can.
And it's reciprocal, right? You're both able to help each other and times.
So now we're getting to some of the features of what this program does.
Yeah.
So your engaged neighbor newsletter, how do people find out about it?
Yeah, I mean, you can go to the Missouri Extension website and find me on that, and find the Engaged Neighbor page, and you can sign up for the newsletter on that. Or you can go to EngageNeighbor.com.
EngageNeighbor.com.
That's something I have set up.
Go to the Missouri Extension Council And
You can do it that way, or you can just go directly to engageneighbor.com. It's a little easier to remember.
Okay.
Right? And but right there at the top of that, you can sign up for the newsletter that goes out.
it's got all kinds of good information.
Yeah,
It really does.
we have about 10,000 subscribers. We've been named the best digital neighboring newsletter in the nation by Neighborhoods USA for 5 years in a row.
Well, David, you're going to be working with, I believe, one of the very best employees down at the courthouse in Christian County, Brenda Porterfield.
Yes.
She's certainly, she's our legal assistant, not legislative assistant, but administrative assistant, for the commission office, and she has created our newsletter. And if you didn't get one, I'm going to make sure that
I
you
did.
did you?
Yes.
Okay, so that's our first one, and she did a tremendous job. It's going to continue to grow. We're going to send most of the copies out email-wise, but we're doing hard copies for any of the seniors that I'll go to senior citizens shelters and homes and nursing homes and places like that. So we'll be taking hard copies, and people are we're getting a lot of positive comments.
Good.
We'll always be talking about the Good Neighbor program. The next one comes out March 1st, but we're sending them out every day right now, and she's done a great job. She's the best thing that's happened to me since I've been in office since 2020. Someone that believes in what I believe in, that actually takes care of everybody that walks through the door, and that's what we should be doing.
That's wonderful.
Everybody.
I know she's going to be using that to tell some stories, and one of those is we had one of the Missouri's Engaged Neighbor honorees was from Ozark.
Ozark, I saw that.
And I think she's going to be reprinting that story. I mean, that's part of how you get more action is through storytelling. And like you said, the role models, but saying the example. It doesn't have to be something grand and expensive to be an engaged neighbor at all.
No.
And even if you live in a neighborhood that has a HOA or an association, one of the best things you can do is join that association or get active with that HOA, not necessarily in the governance of applying rules, but in doing social activities, helping build social connection. That's really the best thing you can do.
Brenda and I will be inviting her to one of our commission meetings and honoring her. And really promoting what we're doing. And I'll probably try to buy a little gift card that she can use someplace and just kind of surprise her.
Yeah. She had called me up out of the blue one time and wanted to have a meeting about her new neighborhood she'd moved into and how she could get active. So we've met and talked in person, and then she just really took the wheel by storm, took it to new great levels with her neighborhood.
Very good. Well, let's look at some more things. You got something that comes out monthly that's Neighboring 101.
Yes, it's actually an online class that we do through Zoom. It's not just for new homeowners. It's for anyone. It's a different guest speaker every month. You do have to register for the program, and you can register at the Extension website. There's a one-time fee, then you're grandfathered in as long as we keep doing the program. We're about 5 years into it. But I have guest speakers from all over the country. We have participants in that class from 42 states, over 1,000 people that have registered. We encourage you to attend live on that Zoom, but if you can't, we do send the recording out and you can watch that. So it's new ideas and authors and researchers along this area. And this month, our guest is going to be Matt Evans, who created something called Out and About. And it's a website where you can put in your address and you can promote it through your neighborhood. It's really about setting a designated time every month that people gather together with their neighbors, just in their driveway, just being out and about, right? It's the first Sunday of each month is the out about time, 6 to 8, and we just set a lawn chair out and have a cooler of some water and sodas, and neighbors bring lawn chairs over, and people out walking, holler at them, come over and join us, have a conversation.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
Just being out and about. So you don't have to, people sometimes get overwhelmed and don't want to plan a big event, or they think, I don't want to feed everybody because of the expense, or, lots of things, lots of reasons not to do this. So we just say, let's strip away all the excuses. Let's pick the date, because you're never going to find a perfect date for everybody. And the best part of this is there's consistency. If you can plan on, okay, first Sunday night of every month, there's your consistency. And that's how it builds momentum. And we're seeing that grow across the country. So Matt's going to be our guest this month.
That's good. And then you talked about speaking engagements. You're available to go around and speak at least in Southwest Missouri.
Yes.
Where else do you speak?
Yes. Well, I have spoken all over certainly the Midwest, from Florida to Michigan to Colorado, usually with travel expenses covered, of course. But the biggest restriction is my calendar and the fact there's only one of me. I scheduled yesterday a speaking engagement in October, so my calendar does fill up, especially when there's travel involved. But locally,
how do people get a hold of
Yeah, you can find my contact information on that engageneighbor.com website. You can find it on the Mizzou extension, which is extension.missouri.edu. You can certainly find my contact information there. If you call my office, my cell phone is on my message, so you can call or text me.
Well, I know you call
personally.
back. I know you call back. You and I communicate
Yes,
back and forth.
yes, I do get back.
And David does get back to people, and his message is genuine. That's being a good neighbor on the phone, because I like his message. You can tell that he's a happy person. He's a good person. People can tell that on the phone too, what kind of person you are. And so everyone out there, be careful when you're talking on the phone, because they can tell you. Some of the businesses I don't do business with is people that have people that answer the phone, and they're not very happy. And so
if joy comes from the Lord, right? So if I'm a happy person, it's because I know the Lord. And that's an important part of it. But I've been, very, very blessed, and certainly with this work and the way it has grown, and the way Missouri Good Neighbor Week has taken off, which I know we're getting ready to talk about as well.
Yeah, so our last thing, because we're going to run out of time, and I do have to spend a little time with our sponsors our sponsors. But so we have a new contest program in 2026. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, Missouri Good Neighbor Week. It's been going since 2022. That's when the legislature recognized it as a statewide effort, and the governor signed that bill that made that possible, and it's grown every year. We encourage the reporting of acts of neighboring. Perform an act of neighboring and report it during that week, September 28th to October 4th. And last year we had over 42,000 acts of neighboring reported across the state of Missouri.
Great, but we could have a lot more.
We could have a lot more. And part of that, we work to identify and to take nominations for the most engaged neighbors in Missouri, because we want to be able to retell those stories. We ask people to report what they have done as individual actions. We're looking for neighborly businesses. You can nominate a neighborly business. We do a youth award for youth that have been involved. We have a whole program coming up this year with 4-H to get the youth involved in making connections with their neighbors as well. So it's all part of that. Several cities around the nation, around the state, have developed neighboring activities, neighboring events, not just that week, but year-long, to build this connection. And that all counts toward points that cities earn to be named the most neighborly city in Missouri. And so we feel like all that recognition is a chance to shine the spotlight on good examples that are easily repeatable oftentimes, and you get more of what you celebrate. So we celebrate those examples. I will say there's also National Good Neighbor Day. So if you're not in Missouri, a team that I work with, there is also a website for National Good Neighbor Day, and that's on September 28th. And so you can certainly partner with that. I gravitate toward those holidays. That holiday was signed into law by Jimmy Carter in 1977. And I gravitated toward using that because it helped remove the awkward when I was inviting neighbors. It gave me an excuse. Hey, it's National Good Neighbor Day, so we're doing this event. It just helped make it feel less awkward when I was getting started. So I think both of those things can be a helpful tool for people to get started and start building those engaged connections.
Very good.
Engaged connections.
Very good. I know we could actually talk another hour or two, but I've got another meeting coming up, and I bet you do too. But let me talk about our sponsors, and David, be thinking I'll give you last words, so I'm going to come back to you. But Brad Pistow, a certified fiduciary financial planner located in Ozark, Missouri. He's my financial planner. So not only do they help you with retirement planning to make sure that you will not run out of life before you run out of money, his son is also a licensed securities dealer and can help you with any type of investment. And honestly, Brad Pistow is not only one of the best in the state, he is one of the best in the country, and he's licensed now in 23 states. He has clients in all 23 states. He has friends and associates in the other states, so you can contact him at 417-581-9222, 417-581-9222. He will help you, and he has helped me and my family. He's helped many of my family members. He's helped many of my friends, business associates. I just sent someone to him in their 40s. It's never too early to think about retirement planning. Okay, it's never too early. He'll help you. He does not charge for consultation, so there's no charge. They'll send you some books, Safe Money Matters, Bulletproof, #1 best-selling books on Amazon on retirement planning. He'll do all that for you, no charge. Call him today. Let him know that Lynn Morris sent you guys, and you will appreciate it. You'll appreciate it. Our other sponsor, Springfield Nissan, Springfield Kia. That is John Whittaker and Aaron Swanson. Used to be John Youngblood. My last two Jeeps, Grand Cherokee Summit Jeeps, top of the line, bought with 4,000 and 8,000 miles on them. They can find you. I'm the old guy that doesn't want to pay full price for a brand new car, and I make them find me low mileage cars, and so you can save a little bit of money. And they'll find that for you. But now I just bought a car on Labor Day, this past Labor Day, and I bought a Kia. And I got a great price on it. I bought one with 3,000 miles. It was a demo. And so I got a little bit knocked off. Actually, I made them knock off a little bit more. They're good guys. They're good guys. Gave me a lot of benefits and services. I love that car. I love it as much or more than my Jeep, and I can't hardly imagine that. So the service is impeccable. If you call this number, 882-3838, 882-3838, you're going to get Susan. She always answers the phone. This is what I was talking about a while ago about your voice and how people can know what kind of mood you're in. This lady is always extremely nice and polite and will get you to the right place, because that's a busy, busy place. Get you the right person and takes care of you every time. That's why you want to go back and trade with them. So there's our two sponsors. I highly recommend them. 3838 South Campbell, Springfield, Missouri. New cars on one side, used cars across the street on the other side. They've got a great used car program too. A lot of cars that have gone through many, many checkpoints, and those cars last a long time. And honestly, they sell cars from 8 different states, or to people from 8 different states. So they're very, very busy too. 46 years, I think, they've been in business, family-owned car dealer. That's pretty remarkable. All right, so David, our last words of the day.
Well, less than 20% of Americans know the names of all their neighbors. So it's a place to start. Learn the names of your neighbors, find ways to use the names of your neighbors, and throw a good party or two.
Yeah, that's
even
what I
something
plan on
simple.
doing next.
Even something simple on the driveway.
Yeah.
I think it's a cure for our epidemic of loneliness that we see in America. It's a cure for the distrust and division that exists, and it's essential for our own health and for the health of our community as well. And you can have a role in that locally by doing the work right where you live.
Yeah, I think when you said that word loneliness, David, I'm telling you what, there's a lot of people in this country They could be young and lonely. They could be older and lonely. I think about Janet's sister. She's 4 years younger than Janet, but she's diagnosed with terminal cancer. She has no husband, and she's got a couple of kids, and they come and see her sometimes, but maybe, it's just a lonely time. And if she didn't have her dogs, I think she'd probably already be gone.
Yeah.
But there's people out there just wanting to have just a voice to help them. And if you could do that, it would be an awesome thing to help other people. So just remember that this is something you can do. The Engaged Neighbor program is going to get bigger and bigger and better because of people like David. Like David Burton has made this his mission. You make it your mission. Help somebody today. Back when I had family pharmacy, we sold medicine in 26 stores, over 1 million scripts a year. And here's what we said. I said, kindness is the best medicine in this world. Reach out today and do something nice for someone.
Yeah.
Kindness is the best medicine in this world. Kindness. Okay? So anyway, everybody have a great, blessed day and week, and we'll be back next Wednesday. We're going to start having some other people helping me, some of the ones that have helped me in the past as a sponsor, guest host. But and sometimes you'll just have to put up with me. And we'll wait for Dr. Mary Byrne to quit working up there at Jefferson City because we want her to come back too. So it'll be exciting times. We appreciate you today. Be blessed.